What if I told you there's a fire burning inside your body right now? A fire you can't see, can't feel until it's too late. Most people don't even know it's there. But this silent flame has a name. It's called chronic inflammation. And it's one of the most powerful drivers behind the diseases we fear most as we age. Heart disease, Alzheimer's, cancer, diabetes. You might be thinking, well, if I had something like that, wouldn't I feel it? But here's the catch. Chronic inflammation doesn't show up like a sprained ankle or a sore throat. It simmers quietly for years, maybe decades, weakening your immune system, damaging your arteries, clouding your memory. And by the time you notice it, it might already be at work in your heart, your brain, your joints. In one recent study, researchers measured something called the inflammatory burden index, basically a score of how inflamed your body is. They found that just a small increase in this index raised the risk of dying from any cause by 23%. Let that sink in. 23%. But here's the good news. Because there's always good news. You're not powerless. You can cool that fire. You can lower your inflammation naturally. And in this video, I'm going to show you how. But first, we need to understand what inflammation really is. So what is inflammation really? Is it always bad? Or is there more to the story? Let's break it down. Inflammation, at its core, is your body's natural defense system. Think of it like your own personal emergency crew, rushing in to repair damage, fight infection, clean up the mess. When you cut yourself, twist an ankle, or catch a cold, inflammation shows up to help. That's good inflammation. That's survival. But the problem begins when the body never gets the signal to stop. Instead of turning off once the job is done, that same emergency crew just keeps working. Day after day, year after year, they start damaging the very tissues they were meant to protect. Now imagine that silent battle happening in your heart, your brain, your gut. That's what we call chronic inflammation. Here's the scary part. It's not obvious. You might not feel pain. You might not see swelling. But under the surface, your immune system is on overdrive. And over time, that slow burn wears down your organs, your blood vessels, even your brain cells. Doctors now believe that almost every major disease of aging, heart disease, cancer, type 2 diabetes, dementia, autoimmune disease, is linked to this kind of hidden inflammation. There's even a name for it, inflammaging. That's right. Scientists have discovered that as we get older, low-grade inflammation becomes more common. And that may be one of the biggest reasons why aging brings so many health problems. Instead of aging gracefully, our bodies begin to age like they're under attack. But it doesn't have to be that way. Because if we can find the sources of inflammation, and more importantly, remove them, we give our bodies a chance to heal, to slow the aging process, to feel stronger, clearer, more alive. So the question is, what's causing that fire inside you? And what can you do about it? Let's talk about the 5 biggest triggers, starting with the one that might be on your plate right now. If inflammation is the fire, then what's throwing fuel on it? Let's walk through 5 invisible but powerful triggers that may be driving that fire inside you, often without your knowledge. 1. Sugar and starch, the sweet poison. Let's start with the biggest one, sugar, and its close cousin, refined starch. Most people don't realize this, but sugar isn't just in candy and soda. It's hiding in bread, pasta, breakfast cereal, salad dressings, almost everything in a package, even foods that look healthy. And here's what it does. It spikes your blood sugar, floods your body with insulin, and triggers a cascade of inflammation. Over time, that process can damage your arteries, cloud your thinking, inflame your joints, and exhaust your immune system. One major study found that people who consume sugar-sweetened beverages daily had significantly higher levels of CRP, a marker of inflammation. And for women over 55, the risk of developing inflammatory diseases like rheumatoid arthritis went way up. So if you're still sipping soda or adding sugar to your coffee, it's not a small thing. It's a daily hit to your health. Instead of reaching for quick carbs, try swapping in whole foods that don't spike your blood sugar, like berries, leafy greens, nuts, and protein-rich meals. Your body will thank you for it. Because here's the truth. Sugar isn't just empty calories. It's gasoline on the fire. 2, bad fats and ultra-processed foods. Next up, the wrong kind of fat. Trans fats and highly processed seed oils, like soybean, corn, or canola oil, are common in packaged snacks, fast food, and even many health bars. These fats trigger inflammation deep in your cells. And here's the kicker. Even though the government declared trans fats unsafe back in 2015, they're still allowed in small amounts under loopholes in labeling laws. That means you may be eating them without even knowing it. So instead of loading up on refined oils, think in terms of good fats. Extra virgin olive oil, avocado, wild-caught fish like salmon or sardines. These fats cool the fire, not fuel it. 3, stress and sedentary living. Now let's talk about stress. You might be thinking, I've been through worse. I'm managing. But chronic stress doesn't just affect your mood. It hijacks your immune system. It raises cortisol, disrupts sleep, and fuels, you guessed it, inflammation. One viewer wrote, "After my mom passed, I ate badly, gained weight, and felt inflamed all the time." That emotional stress, plus poor food choices, created a storm inside her body. Even if you don't feel outwardly anxious, sitting too much, not moving your body, and constantly reading upsetting news can keep your nervous system stuck in fight or flight. Instead of letting stress pile up, find small daily rituals, walks in nature, deep breathing, meditation, even simply turning off the news for a day. These aren't luxuries. They're medicine. 4, toxins and environmental load. We don't live in the same world we did 50 years ago. Today we're surrounded by low-level toxins, pesticides in food, heavy metals in fish, plastic residues in water bottles, synthetic fragrances in soaps and lotions. These compounds are called immunotoxins, and yes, they can trigger inflammation. Some skincare products even contain petrochemicals and trace amounts of lead. And your skin isn't a barrier. It absorbs what you put on it. That's why it's worth taking small steps. Filter your water, read labels, switch to clean household products, and check out the Environmental Working Group, EWG, to learn what to avoid. Reducing toxic load doesn't need to be perfect, but each step lowers the burden on your body. 5, an unbalanced gut. Finally, your gut. Inside you is an ecosystem of trillions of bacteria, your microbiome. When this system is balanced, it supports immunity, reduces inflammation, and even improves mood. But when it's out of balance, often from antibiotics, sugar, stress, or processed food, it can cause something called metabolic endotoxemia. That's a mouthful, but here's what it means. Bad bacteria release toxic compounds that leak into your bloodstream and activate your immune system. Nonstop. In one study, just the presence of these toxins led to insulin resistance, even without changing your diet, just from the bacteria in your gut. So instead of ignoring your digestion, start feeding your good bacteria fiber, fermented foods, and time away from junk. It really is like tending to a garden, and a healthy gut means a cooler, calmer immune system. Now that we've seen the 5 invisible drivers of inflammation, the next question is, how do we know if we're inflamed? And how can we track it? That's coming up next. Here's a question most people never ask their doctor, but should. Can you check if I have inflammation? The answer is yes. You absolutely can measure it. And if you're over 60, it might be one of the most important numbers you can know. The most common blood test for inflammation is something called HSCRP, short for high sensitivity C-reactive protein. It's a marker your liver produces when there's inflammation somewhere in the body. Now, a level below 1 is considered low risk. Between 1 and 3 is moderate, and over 3, that's your red flag. It means your immune system is on alert, even if you feel fine. But that's just the beginning. Newer tools are giving us an even clearer picture. One of them is the Inflammatory Burden Index, or IBI. It combines CRP with a ratio of white blood cells, neutrophils, and lymphocytes. The higher your IBI, the higher your risk of disease, especially cancer and heart trouble. In fact, a major study in 2025 found that for every increase in IBI, the risk of dying from any cause went up 23%. And for cancer, 14%, just from that number alone. Now, here's something alarming. Some viewers shared that their doctors told them a CRP of 5 or even 8 was normal, but multiple global guidelines now say less than 1 is optimal. So if your doctor shrugs off a high CRP, it might be time to ask more questions or get a second opinion. There's also a test called iAge developed at Stanford. It looks at dozens of tiny immune signals, cytokines, and estimates how old your immune system really is. That's right, your immune age might be older or younger than your birth certificate. Why does all this matter? Because what you can measure, you can improve. If you track your CRP, your IBI, or even your immune age over time and make changes, we've seen people reverse inflammation, reduce disease risk, and feel younger, stronger, sharper. And the best part? These tests aren't exotic. They're available, they're affordable, and they might just change the way you age. So now that you know how to measure inflammation, let's talk about how to bring it down. You've seen what inflammation is. You've learned how to measure it. Now let's talk about what really matters, how to lower it, how to cool the fire inside naturally day by day. We'll walk through 5 simple areas: what you eat, how you move, how you rest, the supplements that help, and the sleep your body craves. 1. Food and the power of an elimination diet. Let's start in the kitchen. Every bite you take can either feed inflammation or fight it. And the best way to figure out which foods work for your body is through something called an elimination diet. It's not forever. It's a short-term reset. Here's how it works. For 3 to 6 weeks, you cut out common triggers: sugar, gluten, dairy, seed oils, processed foods. You eat clean, whole, anti-inflammatory meals. Think leafy greens, wild fish, sweet potatoes, berries, olive oil, nuts, bone broth, herbs, and spices. Then one by one, you add foods back in and notice how your body responds. One viewer said, "After 4 weeks of removing irritants, I lost 14 pounds, dropped inches, and felt like I was reversing time. This is my life now." The beauty of this approach is you're not guessing. You're learning from your own body, and here's the truth. No lab test is as clear as your body's own signals. So instead of wondering if bread or milk is okay for you, test it. You'll likely discover foods that were secretly inflaming you all along. 2. Movement. That heals, not hurts. You don't have to run marathons to fight inflammation. In fact, that might make it worse. What your body needs is gentle, consistent movement. A 30-minute walk, light resistance training, stretching, tai chi, even housework or gardening. Moving your body pumps lymph, supports detox, balances blood sugar, and calms your nervous system. One person shared that after losing a loved one, they started walking daily, and that simple act helped them feel alive again, not just physically, but emotionally. So instead of sitting all day, get your joints moving. Your body was made for it. 3. Rest, relaxation, and stress reset. We often underestimate the damage stress can do. But chronic stress, especially in midlife and beyond, turns your immune system against you. It's not just emotional, it's chemical. It raises cortisol, disrupts sleep, and triggers inflammatory pathways. So what's the solution? Active relaxation. Not just watching TV or scrolling your phone. I mean intentional habits that reset your nervous system. Deep breathing, meditation, prayer, journaling, music, massage, or even walking barefoot outside for grounding. As one commenter put it, I used to start my day at 4:30 a.m. just to breathe clean air and practice pranayama. It changed my life. You don't need a mountain retreat. You just need a moment of stillness every day. That's how you cool the fire inside. 4. Supplements that support healing. While food comes first, certain nutrients can give you a powerful edge. The essentials? Omega-3s from fish oil, reduce inflammation in the brain, heart, and joints. Vitamin D, the most overlooked anti-inflammatory tool, especially in older adults. Magnesium, calms the nervous system, supports detox. Turmeric, or curcumin, one of nature's strongest inflammation fighters. Talk to your doctor, of course, but these can be safe and effective tools in your daily routine. And remember, you're not looking for magic pills. You're looking for support while your lifestyle does the heavy lifting. 5. Deep sleep and nervous system recovery. Last but never least, sleep. Poor sleep equals higher inflammation. Period. Even one night of bad sleep can spike CRP levels. And it's a vicious cycle. The more inflamed you are, the harder it is to sleep. But when you prioritize quality rest, dark room, cool temperature, early bedtime, no screens, you allow your body to heal, repair, and rebuild. Instead of trying to power through, ask, what if rest is the most powerful medicine I'm not taking? One person said they traded late-night news for a hot bath and soft music. And within a week, their pain levels dropped and energy returned. So don't just fight inflammation during the day. Heal while you sleep. Now that we've talked about what to do, let's bring it all home. In the next section, we'll wrap up with the message I hope you carry forward, because the truth is, you are not at the mercy of inflammation. Let's take a step back. You've just learned that inflammation, this silent, invisible force, plays a role in nearly every disease of aging. Heart problems, brain fog, joint pain, even cancer. It's not just a medical term. It's the thread behind so much of what makes us feel old, tired, and broken down. But here's what I want you to remember. You are not powerless. You are not stuck. You are not too old. And it's never too late to lower inflammation and reclaim your health. Because the truth is, inflammation isn't a life sentence. It's a signal. It's your body's way of saying, something's not right. Please help me fix it. And the beauty of that, you can fix it. You don't need perfect genetics. You don't need fancy drugs. What you need is a little knowledge and a willingness to make small, consistent changes. Instead of waiting for a diagnosis, you get to lead with prevention. Instead of masking symptoms, you get to address the root. Instead of fighting disease when it shows up, you get to create health before it does. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up for yourself. One bite, one walk, one breath at a time. As one viewer wrote, after my flare-ups, I changed everything. I'm eating clean, fasting gently, and walking daily. My pain is down. My energy is up. I feel like I got my life back. That's the power of functional living. That's the gift of understanding inflammation. And that, my friend, is the future of aging well. So if today's message resonated with you, don't let it fade. Choose one thing from this video and start today. Cool the fire, reclaim your health, and if you're ready to keep going, watch the next video right here. It's going to take you even deeper because you're not just fighting inflammation, you're creating the healthiest version of yourself, starting now.